Now, we have the space that the youth center is, and we have the Roosevelt Island Youth Program, which uses that space. So to make the distinction, we're talking about this particular space and making it more usable as space. One thing I wasn't clear.
I'm sorry, what's the distinction? One is the place and one is a group.
Right.
One is the facility and one is the operator.
We're talking about the facility right now.
Okay.
And we're not talking about any operator issues about that. Now, it wasn't clear to me until fairly recently whose space it was, and part of that may have been the reason why it fell into the current good state of repair, because we thought it was maybe Roosevelt Landings, and they were maybe not thinking that way, and whatever it is, it's now.
Wasn't it
very
Roosevelt
clear.
Landing had to provide space up until a certain date, and then after that, they didn't necessarily have to, but never told them to leave?
Well, they were, no. If you go back to the original documentation, and I'm getting old, so I don't remember the details completely, but there were a certain number of years that Roosevelt Landing had to provide funding for
funding, not
the
space.
operator.
Oh, okay.
But the space is ours and always has been ours. So, yeah. Well, exactly, frankly, that is exactly how I felt, and a number of us, Gretchen, myself, Shelton, Chris, Arthur, John, Cy, we walked through the space, and when we realized how bad it is,
It's terrible.
It's terrible.
It's terrible.
it is a shame.
It's terrible.
It is a shame that this is Roosevelt Island's youth center. So we all got crazy. We became insane. We called one of our architects. We said, look, we don't want to spend a fortune. We don't want this to be a crazy project. But if I wasn't a lady and I wasn't being taped, I would tell you what I said, what it looked like. And that's exactly what it looks like. There are some serious problems, and it doesn't sound like there's that many serious problems. The roof in that part that is the overhang, it has a leak, and that we're not sure what that's from. There is a problem from the residences above the second floor, which is not our problem. And I know that we've spoken to Doreen, and I think we will have her assistance in correcting any serious pipe problems that have nothing to do with our space. And hopefully, you work with her, Gretchen.
Yes.
She'll be helpful.
She was very willing to sit down with us to go through it. We just have to, iron out the responsibilities and looking at the Eastwood ground lease and to see what responsibilities are RIOCs versus what is clearly Urban Americans.
Yeah.
But she was very amenable to helping us with this process, and we think that we will definitely have her help and support with getting this done.
There's serious problems that are inexpensive to correct, like doors that are locked that shouldn't be locked because of code violations. We may want to look at there's no ADA compliant bathroom.
Right.
I mean, that is probably the most expensive part of the refurbishment that we'll have to do. It just needs some, it needs a facelift. It needs some cosmetic help. And that doesn't have to be extensive, or it can be. I mean, it needs painting, it probably needs a new floor, but it's not in terrible shape, and I don't think we should even bother to change the configuration of the rooms. I think the rooms make sense.
They could use some furniture too,
Yeah.
It was very depressing when we
Oh,
went
it's
through
horrible. It's absolutely horrible, and
We were supposed to do this a couple of years ago.
They did
I was here.
They did the kitchen a couple of years ago.
But we looked over the entire
And there was a
Right, but they will
suggestion,
decide
by the
this
way, that the kitchen, which is, I don't know when the last time, if you guys wanna go for a
We've
walking
seen it.
tour,
Yeah.
but the kitchen that was done is really small, and maybe because the plumbing is there, that becomes the compliant bathroom, and we move the kitchen to a space where you can have cooking classes and some,
That was
like,
the whole idea behind
fun
doing a new
things.
kitchen and then it
Yeah,
came
but
with
you
a
can't,
small,
if you
yeah.
saw it, you can't have classes in that kitchen,
Right.
so I think this is a project, in my view, that should be our top priority project,
Absolutely, I would
because
put it,
Yeah, we
Judy's
were-
not
we
here,
were
so I can
depressed
say I
when we
would put it
saw
above
that.
Blackwell House.
I agree, I mean, I think, I think we're all, I think we all feel that way.
But this should have been done a few years ago.
Did you look at the second floor as well?
Yes.
So the second floor?
Yes,
Well,
the whole thing
there
is
is a lot
horrible.
of space
A lot of
there.
space there for
There
two
There is a
strikes.
lot of space there.
And you know what?
That could be used
Well,
for
we
other
have-
purposes too.
And frankly, this goes back, and we're not gonna discuss operating, but this goes back to the issues of RIOC's monitoring of public purpose funds and how we wanna do that and what our role should be in this youth center, and I think it should be active, and Erica's working really hard, I don't know if she's here, to, you know, do some due diligence about what when we go out with an RFP for a new operator. And that doesn't mean we're against Charlie, whoever's listening, including Charlie, I've spoken to him, we're not. But we need to have some input and monitoring of what the role is of the youth center, what are their programs, and what do we want their programs to be. And I think,
But I think that's all on us.
absolutely.
I really do. And Charlie has
Absolutely.
been working with Beacon and having all those programs and has been dragging us in there, kicking and screaming, looking at the space. And we looked and we said, we ought to do something, and we did
Absolutely,
nothing.
and you know, I said
So
that
they've
to
been
Charlie,
bending
and
over backwards
Charlie's
on
right
this.
about another thing. He can't, go out and raise funds without a leasehold.
Right.
So we need to take care of that issue, that is, that whoever wins the bid is going to get a leasehold on a space that's not an embarrassment.
That, Charlie actually had an architect donate time and plans to renovate that youth center.
Years
Am I
ago,
talking 15
years ago, yes,
And RIOC wouldn't give him the lease.
that's right.
And the whole
That's
thing
right.
fell through.
He had
Gifford Miller
$2 million.
found $2 million to do it back then.
Well, that was
Yep.
the
We
501,
lost that
wasn't
money.
it?
That was for the youth center
The
itself.
current-
Yeah, the
But,
current
but
youth
Margie,
center.
let me just say that under the state finance law,
Berman.
we couldn't just give a lease to one person without a RFP going out.
Could have done an RFP then.
Absolutely,
We
absolutely.
could have done
And-
a lot of
and,
that stuff then.
Herb
And
Berman.
especially
Yeah.
since he had $2 million that he was
Yeah,
coming with and we
it's
didn't.
horrible, it's horrible, but you know what, that's old news.
I know, but
So let's move forward, and I think this is a great project, I think it's exciting, I think we want a youth center we're proud of. And I don't think, you know, we're already starting on it, we've got one of our experts doing a scope of work, and so I think we should just move forward on it.
This is excellent.
scope of work for an operator or scope of work
No,
for
no,
the
no,
design?
no,
Okay.
just, I mean, Charlie's gonna be there all through the next period of time, and he understands, he's gonna bid on, you know, he always makes believe he's gonna retire, but I don't think he's gonna retire. He's gonna bid when the RFP goes out.
See that RFP before it goes out.
Eric is gonna work on it, but you know, in terms of the RFP and the
Yes.
timing, we need to take care of the facility.
Right, so we do the facility first and we'll worry about the RFP.
Okay, and 2 comments on the facility. Whatever we're doing, of course, has to be kind of bootstrap in the sense that you don't want to have to pose too much of it.
I
at
think
a
you can
time.
do it room by room.
Good.
Because the rooms, I think the rooms are great the way they are. You know, there's that gym, there's a music room, there's the, whatever we game room, you know, there's a computer room. I don't think we need to close the youth center at all. I think we could do it a room at a time.
Okay, great.
Be nice if we could get some of the kids to help with it and let them learn some things about construction and see if we can use them as apprentices kind of.
We could try, I'll have to look the labor law stuff.
Cornell, they have that new program, we'll work it out with them. New program.
That was the Cornell program for women in construction, the
Right.
women in
That's
construction,
right.
bring
That's
them in and
right.
learn them
Bring in
to,
Cornell.
let them learn
It's
there.
What do they call it, non-traditional jobs, it's
Yes,
NOW
yes.
or NEW, it's
NEW.
Yeah.
It's
non-traditional.
a
You know.
transition.
Yes.
What does it stand for?
It's a-
That would be a great idea.
Non-traditional jobs for
No, it's
women.
NEW though, or NOW.
Non-traditional employment for women.
Right.
Non-traditional employment.
Oh, so the N and the traditional are together with the N? So non-traditional is one word, okay,
Yeah.
employment for women. I knew it was new, but I couldn't imagine where the T went.
It's a
Yeah, we'll
transition.
get that program,
Yes.
perfect.
That's really excellent. I like
Hey,
that.
great.